we are really proud of what we created. We want to take relief to our neighboring countries so that more people, just like Ayu, can get the help they really need. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's an initiative that we start like a few years ago, yeah, around 2018. Yeah, so that's relief. So we connect people who have personal problems to professional psychologists. Next. Yeah, so far we already next. Yeah. Yeah, so it's relief. Yeah, you can. It's already available in Play Store and App Store. You can use it right now. Next. Yeah, so far we already helped more than 750,000 people all around Indonesia, and we work together with Indonesian Psychologists Association. Yeah, so we believe that if we connect the psychologists, people will get them easier. Yeah. Next. Yeah, and okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Behind the product, behind the apps that we build, yeah. But behind of that, we have a vision that we want to create a peace of mind and smile all over the world. Yeah, and to make that happen, we believe that mental health awareness is the most important thing that we have to do. Yeah, so we were lucky enough to work together with Instagram and Indonesia. Yeah, in Indonesia we create some campaign with several public figures, and we create some popular mental health topics, and then also we create content. Yeah, here we create content, and then yeah, people will understand and getting to know more about awareness in Indonesia. Yeah. Next. Yeah, so why this age range is critical, yeah, in the young people is the starting point of getting the mental health awareness higher. Why? Because in 18 until 35, it's the age where we have a lot of problems from identity crisis, and then struggle to find a job, and then building a family and family problems. Yeah, so it's impossible if we don't have problems in this. So we believe that if we can empower the young people, yeah, they will be productive, and if they can be productive, they will have a better life. Yeah, because we believe that the population in Indonesia, yeah, it will be like most of the population will be a productive age. Yeah, so like Gen Y, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha. Yeah, they are the future of the population. Yeah, so that's why we have to start it now. Yeah, from now. Yeah, and we are responsible to create a mentally healthy environment. And the last message that I want to share with you everyone, yeah, we can start our contribution for mental wellness now. Yeah, it can be started from us. Yeah, start here. By starting that we aware with mental health awareness, we are not toxic on the social media. We can be a good listener. Yeah, if we can do that, yeah, we already start the contribution in mental health in our society. Yeah, and then you can make a inner support circle, and then mental health activists, school and university, media and public figures. We believe that you are here the future of the generation, and you can create any content, you can create any initiative that also talk about mental health. Yeah, and the last journey of mental health in our society is still a long journey, but we believe it's not simple. Yeah, quoting from one of musicians that I like, yeah, John Lennon. They said like, a dream that you dream alone, only a dream, but a dream that you dream together is reality. Yeah, so let's just dream together, and your initiative will matters for everyone in the future. So let's start with now. I think that's all that I can share. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Audrey, for your material. Okay, guys, I know you might be want to ask something to the speakers, but I have that session in the last, so we will like continue the material for the two other speakers, and then after that I will give you a chance to ask the question. So please keep your question. So our next speakers is Mr. Helmut Izhar. We will talking about economy. I know that there is a lot of group that is talking about economy. I think economy is one of the most group in our, so please show their CV. Okay, so this is Mr. Helmut Izhar, PhD. He is a senior economist at Islamic Development Bank Group. He was a lecturer in economics and finance in Markfield Institute of Higher Education in UK. Also a research fellow in Oxford University and a consultant in Karim Consulting in 2003 to 2004. He has like 4 projects going on, and then one of them is in collaboration between UN, ISDB, and also World Health Organization. His education is actually a PhD in economics at Durham University in UK, and got a master's degree in Islamic finance at Loughborough University in 2005. And then there's a lot of achievement and also awards in science and research. Please give it up for Mr. Helmut Izhar, everyone. Mr. Helmut, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Günaydın. Very good afternoon. Okay, bahasa Inggris ya?
Yes, in English.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma shalli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Don't worry, I will not provide with Friday prayers. I'm not here to give you sermons. Look, I was simply feeling over the moon. It comes with my name, Helmut, and I'm feeling over the moon. Alright? Simply because when I received the text, asking me to be part of this Istanbul Youth Summit, this is literally something that is beyond my comfort zone. I've been traveling all around the world. I've been blessed and privileged, but only today I am amongst you guys, my brothers and sisters, my juniors, my peers, with you feel so fired up, and your positive energy has rejuvenated my spirit, and at the same time, whether it is fortunately or unfortunately, you really make me feel old. Because guys told me during the break that, look, Pak Helmut, I think you are the most senior. I think what he's trying to tell me is actually that he's this here. But anyhow, look, I don't want to make much of your time because even myself, I'm very much looking forward to listening and learning from you guys, and also listening and learning from my fellow speakers. But what I'm trying to tell you today, in a nutshell, is seeing the future or is the economic outlook. But currently, I'm based in Jeddah, but I'm still holding the, something that we're still very proud of, feel very proud of, the Indonesian passport. But I live in Jeddah, but I think in fact, more than half of my age, I've been away from my hometown, namely Malang. And more than 17 years I've been living abroad. I spent quite good numbers, over 6 years in the United Kingdom to do my master and PhD, and did some work as well. As mentioned before, I lecture at the Markfield Institute of Higher Education. I taught economics, finance, and some quantitative methods as well. And then I performed I migrated essentially to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now I'm working at the Islamic Development Bank. I will tell you a bit about the Islamic Development Bank later, okay? But first of all, there are 3 reasons. I don't want to sound, or I don't want to appear to be very snobbish, but there are 3 reasons why you should listen to me, okay? Number 1, I have earned my credentials by completing my degrees, thank God, from, I would say, quite reputable universities. I did my bachelor degree in economics from, again, what top, if not the top, at least what I believe, university is in Indonesia. I did my bachelor degree in economics, monetary economics in Universitas Indonesia. And as you know, the current Minister of Finance was the teacher or the lecturer of University of Indonesia, or FUE, and there are some other big names as well. I was privileged and humbled that I completed my master and PhD in the United Kingdom in Loughborough University for master and PhD at Durham University. That's all right. Next is your turn, by the way. Right? You may feel inspired by what I'm trying to share you now, but do not worry. That next turn is yours. I will give you a secret later on. Right? And I've been privileged to have delivered lectures, seminars, conferences in top universities. That includes Harvard University, Oxford, Cambridge universities as well. And of course, I don't need to tell you what Harvard University is. Harvard is Harvard after all, right? And guess what? In 2000, in the year of 2000, I was still doing my degree at the University of Indonesia. And again, at that time, out of the blue, I had the invitation to participate, not to speak, from the Harvard Law School to attend the first Harvard Islamic Finance Forum. And by the way, my field of specializations is Islamic economics or Islamic finance, right? And upon my return from the United States of America in Boston, one of my friends was telling me, look, Hilman, now you just came back from the United States to attend as a participant at Harvard University. Guess what? 10 years down the line, you will be sitting there and speaking at Harvard University. I was just telling myself, what the hell are you talking about? That's impossible. And guess what? Exactly 10 years afterwards, I was sitting at the front at the Harvard University giving lectures. So I totally agree with Pak Maksi just mentioned just now. A dream, if you dream alone, it will only be an illusion. But if you dream together, you will end up having a reality. And by the way, I think for those who speak Arabic, my name also has a meaning of a dream. Hilm. In other words, I'm also a dreamer, just like you are. Next, I have built my reputation as an Islamic economics and finance expert, a strategist and development economist with more than 15 years of experience, expert collaborations, as well as the stakeholder engagement across the globe. Thanks to my work as well at the Islamic Development Bank, I've been traveling at least in 4 continents. Only 2 continents I haven't visited. Number 1 is the North Pole, you know, the Antarctic continent, and Austria. Believe it or not, I haven't been to Austria. As you know, the name becomes the name of one of the cities in Kazakhstan as well. Now, during my conversation with some of you during the breaks, lunch, even yesterday as well at the hotel in Windsor in Bayram Pasha, some of you may not get the idea what is actually Islamic Development Bank. Is it the same as Waqf Bank in Turkey? Is it the same as Kuwait Finance House? And so on and so forth. That's not exactly the same. In a nutshell, just to give you the background of the Islamic Development Bank, please don't worry about the slides being shown here. Let me tell you briefly and verbally so that it will make things clear. Islamic Development Bank is essentially what we call as the MDB, or Multilateral Development Bank. So our peers are, this is exactly like the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, the African Development Bank, based in Tunisia, and also one of the infrastructure banks that was recently founded that is now currently based in Beijing, AIIB. And as you know, AIIB has been transforming themselves to become one of the biggest donors for our economic development in our country. So the same, one of the only differences essentially is how we give the financings to our member countries. And in the opening ceremony today, you might have heard that some of the speakers mentioned the word OIC, or Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Organization of Islamic Cooperation was essentially behind the establishment of Islamic Development Bank. We have the same number of member countries, namely 57 member countries. So I've been privileged to be part of those projects, initiatives, and so many economic development challenges and contributive activities in 57 member countries. And perhaps later on during the break, if we still have time, I will give you a bit of a very interesting story, an eye-opening story that took place in Suriname. You might have heard. For those who love football, you may still remember Ruud Gullit, right? Or Frank Rijkaard. Where are they originally from? They are originally from Suriname. In Suriname, there are so many Indonesian communities over there, i.e. Javanese, and they still speak Javanese. They cannot even speak Indonesian, by the way. They speak Javanese. And there is another interesting story that I can tell you now, because then I will take much of the time from the other panelists, is that there are two types of mosques, or masajid, or jami, you call it in Turkey, which faces towards different qibla direction. Okay? As we all know, when we perform our namaz or our salah, we are facing qibla, which is now located in Saudi Arabia. But there is another interesting story. This is only a spoiler alert. Okay? Next. Some thoughts of the global pandemic. It's not over until it's over. Welcome to year 3, unfortunately. We have spent 2 hot seasons, 2 Eid al-Fitr, 2 Bayrams, not only Kurban Bayram, as well as Ramadan Bayrams. We have been undergoing such a difficult time, such an unprecedented, challenging time for all of us, without any exceptions. But thank God that the rollout of the vaccinations has been taking place in so many degrees, in many different countries, and I think we have to be very proud of ourselves as a nation, as Indonesian, because despite the fact that we have so much huge population, spreading across our 13 how many thousands islands, I think we have been able to manage those things in a quite great deal that I think we have to really appreciate. And I'm not a magician, obviously, nobody is, but I think by early 2023, earliest perhaps, we can expect something to return back to the normal, if we cannot call it as a new normal. So the pandemic presents basically a political turning point if we look at it from the ongoing tension between the United States of America and China, notwithstanding the fact that there is now an ongoing and current tension, the new revived tension between the United States, China, and then now it's all over the places, the tension between now United States and some of the European Union with the Ukraine, and not to mention the ongoing tension that is still now taking place in Middle Eastern countries, GCC, and plus in Southeast Asia. Why I need to mention this? Because one way or the other, those things will adversely impact the engines of the economy. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about the economy, it is talking about the real sector. Not to mention about the financial sector that can really overwhelm how the engine is growing and taking place in the real sector. So what's the impact on global growth? We must have felt it before. Huge impact on travel, trade, employment, despite massive policy support. One of the defining points for any country, for those who would like to survive and manage to get through the whole pandemic, is how they can really sustain their fiscal surplus. And so many different countries, they have come to an agreement, whether it is G7 and now G20 is now going to take place, and we happen to be the president holding the presidency of the G20 this year. There's going to be taking place a huge summit in Bali, hopefully I think sometimes in October, so we cannot simply overlook this momentum. Some good news though, as the certainty recedes finally, and hopefully in the next few months, hopefully with the vaccinations that is now taking place and rolled out, despite some of the countries are still very reluctant with the third jab, and the distributions of the vaccines, and again, demonstrations of inequality, another type of inequality. Who control the chain of the supply chain and the global value chains may have to be revisited, because that has one way or the other had a huge impact as well on how the economy is growing. And when it comes to the Indonesia, for instance, or some neighboring countries, the other type of concerns, I wouldn't want to say the crisis, but the concern that we have to overcome if we would like to achieve our Vision 2045, as you know, Visi 2045 is one of the things that has been our sort of quote-unquote baggage. We have to overcome this thing, namely the middle income trend. This is something that is going to define us, whether we will be successful in bolstering our economy and to achieve ultimately the status of being the advanced economy, or we are quite pleased and content or even happy to become only the middle income, let alone the upper middle. Now we are still at the medium or even lower middle income among our G20 peers. Right. The good news, another good news is that given the current trend, some of the Southeast Asian countries and Asia Pacific countries may be quite promising in terms of their economic growth. But we have to be very cautious here when we talk about the economic growth. There is another aspect that is inevitably cannot be addressed or does not really come out in terms of the calculation of this economic growth, i.e. the income inequality. This is something that may not be necessarily addressed when we talk about the economic growth. Right. Risks threaten the short-term bounce back. Again, the China-US tension casts a geopolitical cloud over Asia, and hopefully us or the Indonesia or Indonesians as a nation being one of the sort of leading countries in the G20, this is something that we should really be proud of, but at the same time we have to come to the real term by action, especially this year. We simply cannot afford to lose the momentum. I think I have come to the last slide. Just leave it. Right, what are the key takeaways? Is it going to be a start or scratch? Well, what can we say? China, whether we agree or disagree, is still ahead of the curve, but US still steaming ahead. Significant risk factors pose threat to recovery, and another thing that we have to really take into consideration is that we may need to look or relook at the notion of globalization, whether it is going to be not going to get rid of the notion of the globalization, but perhaps we need to redefine what is really meant by globalization and how it can actually help the global communities, irrespective of their race, religions, and political affiliations. With that, I would like to end my presentation, and I'll be happy to take any questions or comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, you guys, do you feel like a Harvard student already? Like it sounds like a lecture, but it is really great information about the economic. And by the way, in Indonesia, actually, there's a lot of young people who is also concerned about the economy, especially for like a small business enterprise. So there's a lot of like NGOs like doing some projects to help small business enterprise. Maybe we can't really help for the GDP, but at least we can help like the local people around us for that project. Okay, you guys, we are going to be on the last speaker for today. And then, if you have already a question in your mind, please keep that, because we will talking about the public health sector with Mr. Imade Subagaria. He is a Master of Medical Science in Harvard Med Stud in 2020 and present, and then graduated as a graduated researcher in the MIT. And also, there's a lot of awards from Carta, such as, sorry, yeah. Like graduate student researcher at MIT, and then teaching fellow at Harvard University, and also in is a program conductor at Udayana One Health Collaborating Center, who is supported and established one of health student club across Indonesia, Vietnam, and also Thailand. And then before studying in Harvard, he was a student of a Doctor of Medicine at University of Udayana in 2008 to 2014. And then all of this, we will listen to him about talking about public health. And then please give it up for Mr. Imade Subagarta. Time yours.
Well, thank you. I like that music. I feel like coming from a Disney castle. How are you guys doing? How are you doing, guys? Amazing right now. Cool. Wow, this is my very first time in Istanbul. And this is my very first time in-person session with almost 300 people, I guess?
Almost, yeah. 200, yeah.
Yeah, so when I first got the call, and the committee was telling me, oh, this is going to be in person, it's going to be in Istanbul, it's beautiful. My first question was that, am I ready to talk to actual people? For the past 2 years, I've been staring and just simply talking to my screen, to my laptop, and I don't even have proper clothes anymore at home, so I need to buy a new one. For you guys, because I'm so excited to be here. And again, thank you Istanbul Youth Forum for having me. My name is Imade Subagiarta. I go by Arta, sorry. Ya kalau versi bule Arta gitu ya. I'm a medical doctor by training. I was international kind of programs. I was doing my clinical rotation in Udayana and did my basic science in Japan. And I a little bit sorry about Harvard. So I have a different story about Harvard, and I wanted to take this moment to remind you that everyone has the potential to reach their dream. So in 2012, there's nothing to do with public health, so this is just my story. In 2012, I was telling myself, I want to go to the US, and I wanted to study at Harvard. I was still quote-unquote koas waktu itu. So I was a medical intern doing my clinical rotations to become a medical doctor. And I was telling myself I wanted to go to Harvard. I first applied to Harvard in 2014 with a very limited kind of preparations. But I was lucky, I got accepted to Harvard to study for medical sciences. But at that time, there's a requirement for medical students to take a medical internship to be licensed as a doctor. And I told Harvard, hey Harvard, I actually need to finish my internship. Is there any way that I could extend this offer and I go to the US and starting my study in 2015? Now Harvard was telling me, who do you think you are? Like, they were telling me no. There are only two options for you. Either you take it, study next year, and or just decline the offer. And at that time, this guy coming from a small village in Tabanan, Bali, Indonesia, decided to decline the offer from Harvard. So I said, okay, I don't need to go to Harvard. So I need to finish my medical degree, medical internship, and become a doctor because I really wanted to help people. So I said no to Harvard in 2014. In 2016, I reapplied to Harvard to the same program. I got accepted again. But when I first got my acceptance letter, my dad was sick. So I have this, again, two options, to take it or to decline the offer. And unfortunately, of course, I have to say no because I need to take care of my dad. reapplied again with no expectation because I feel like they already blacklisted me. It's very unique, you guys, especially for the bule. I made Super Kyoto. So everyone knows my name. That's the point. So when I reapplied to Harvard, the first questions from the program director was like, "Are you playing a game with us? Are you really wanted to study at Harvard?" That was the question, and I said, "Yes, of course, blah blah blah," and I got accepted again. So I got accepted. I applied 3 times. I got accepted 3 times. The moral of the story is that everyone has their own timeline. If you're planning to do something now, you might not get a result today. Could be tomorrow.